This show contains profanity, advice you should never follow, humor that you might not enjoy. The names have been changed to protect the guilty. Do not try this at home.
Should we do this?
I'm ready now. I think I'm ready.
Greetings, yellow blazers, blue blazers, pink blazers,
Dino chasers, do-it-yourselfers, half-gallon challengers, McAfee knobbers.
Welcome to the Puss podcast. My name is Pox Holiday, and sitting to my right.
Puss in Boots.
And today we're going to talk about ice cream. We're going to talk about my trip driving down here, and we're going to talk about
Stickers.
stickers. Be right back.
Tell you what, boys, around here, stickers is serious business. That's a direct quote. Actually, this is related to the trail. Imagine that.
Oh, well.
My buddy Boy Floyd, one of his very best friends that got him into backpacking is a guy that lives in Bristol, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody calls him Uncle Mike. And Uncle Mike has a granddaughter that's like 4 years old. And I guess Floyd had called him on the phone, and there was like screaming in the background.
Right.
And he's like, hang on just a second. And you can hear him like open a door and go like somewhere else and close the door. And he's like, you know what all that was about? Stickers. I tell you what, boys, around here, stickers is serious business.
Oh, boy. Welcome to the Puss podcast. Here we are, back again at Puss in Boots' house.
Yay.
In one of the original IBM neighborhoods.
It's a true story.
North Carolina. Yeah. And, I drove down this morning. I left the house at like 10:30, 11 to drive down here. And yesterday, apparently you guys got a shitload of rain.
Yeah, we got hammered.
Like, what I heard on the news was in the course of one day, the average rainfall for June fell yesterday here. Like 6 inches fell yesterday or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I know
that sounds
that
right.
there was like flooding everywhere. I know from driving back that I saw one car on the side of the road that had like, I can't describe it, but it had been there since yesterday. And it was just, you just saw like it lost control somewhere, and there's just like swirly marks in the middle, and then it was like up on an embankment backwards.
Ugh.
Like going uphill backwards somehow.
That's like my worst fear, driving.
God.
Ugh.
But I was driving in that today, and then I found out on my way over here, there's a little bit of traffic out on the highway, and panic's in town, man.
Oh, no way.
They're playing in downtown, like at that new pavilion downtown Raleigh.
No way.
Yeah, so there's a shitload of widespread panic.
Oh, boy. Panic in the streets.
Yes, but and speaking of driving here, okay, so I was driving to your house this evening. 2 police cars coming in the opposite direction were flying down the highway. Like they were coming down the road, and it was an intersection, and I'm stopped at the light. And from my right, it was people's time to turn left, and these 2 cop cars come screaming down. Whatever happened to pulling over for emergency vehicles? Like, I saw a lady, I'm not shitting you, a lady cut off one of the cops. Like, one had already gone through, and the other one's like right behind it, and this lady in a minivan's like, well, I'm going. But it just seems to me like I just don't see people. Maybe
she was
pull
involved.
over.
Maybe they were chasing after somebody, and she was trying to help them evade police.
No. She was like the 4th or 5th person back. Like, literally, other people had pulled into the intersection away. But I'm just saying, like, it's not just her. I've noticed a lot lately where people are like, meh.
People have places to go. I mean,
I know, but man,
life is short.
Yeah, life is short. You got to get to the mall.
You got to get to the mall. Old Navy closes at 10 p.m.
Exactly. And it's the week after Labor Day sale or Memorial Day, whatever the hell it is.
You do not even know.
But, and the other thing is that today I've been behind 2 people who should not own and operate motorcycles. Yeah.
I hate that. That makes me really nervous.
Yeah.
I saw something interesting the other day.
Oh, yeah?
I was driving behind somebody, and I happened to notice that he had like a "Be the change you wish to see in the world" Gandhi sticker, and like
a coexist,
and like a coexist, and like a peace sign, and like a bunch of like locavore, and like a lot of I'm painting the picture. I'm not passing judgment. I'm just painting you a picture.
I'm passing judgment.
But I had the wonderful opportunity to end up being behind this person at a couple of intersections,
right,
where apparently he was wronged in some way and was not shy about shouting at people and flipping the middle finger. And I was like, maybe you should take your Gandhi stickers off your car. Like, if that Gandhi sticker was a "How do you like my driving" sticker, I would call your ass and like tell you that you suck.
Yeah.
So maybe you should represent yourself slightly differently when you have stickers like that on your vehicle.
I have something here.
In the old backpack.
the old thing you hit on audio podcast. I saw these. You asked me to pick up some beer before I came over.
I did.
And I did bring over, what was it? Sierra Nevada?
Something like that.
It was the summer ale.
Oh, yeah.
But man, oh man.
Ooh, you are doing it for America.
So you have your choice.
Oh, with the High Life. It's the champagne of beers.
It's a High Life with stars and stripes?
These are stars and bars, tall boys, for those of you. We'll totally tweet a picture of this because the world needs to see this.
Budweiser and Miller High Life.
Oh, man.
So you want the champagne of beers?
Yeah.
Okay, here you go.
Shit, yeah. Malt liquor any chance I get.
That's not malt liquor.
Yeah,
Miller High Life?
Yeah, I thought it was.
No.
Is it not?
You're thinking of King Cobra.
Schlitz.
Yeah, Schlitz.
I don't understand. I thought High Life was malt liquor.
Mm-mm.
Well, my dreams are ruined.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll still drink it and I will enjoy it. Thank you, sir.
Oh, no problem.
This is sweet.
Yeah, I have a very
I never noticed this pretty little lady there.
Yeah.
I have so much to learn.
The St. Pauli girl, set the bar.
When I was in college, I was big into Schlitz. That was like my joke beer. Like if I didn't have money, it was like I'm gonna get some fucking Schlitz.
Yeah.
And champagne of beers.
Champagne. I think on the trail, I drank. You couldn't get Pabst Blue Ribbon as freely as you can nowadays.
Right.
I mean, it's the official hipster beer, but it's good and it's cheap and it usually works.
Yeah.
It always works. And
let's be realistic.
Let's be realistic about this shit. But then I would say, God, what did I get the most? I wasn't a beer connoisseur at all at 22, 21. I think I drank just like a lot of Busch Light, like whatever was the cheapest thing I could get and whatever I could find. But I do remember, I think I've talked before about being run out of town in somewhere in whatever the first town you come to after Mount Greylock. And basically ran out of town. I'm not going to tell the whole story on here, but I remember sitting out in front in this motel room, sitting out in front drinking like what's the bowl? What's the I think it's like Schlitz malt liquor.
Yeah.
Is it malt liquor?
I believe
with
there's
the bowl
a big,
on the cover.
Yeah, there's a big bowl
on the cover, on the front. Yeah, like that. I distinctly remember having like 2 40-ounce, huge Schlitz malt liquors on the front porch, and the owner like driving by and looking at us like, this isn't good business, not good advertising.
Suck it.
But yeah. Well, let's see here. This past week, a story came out about Ben & Jerry's, the ice cream company.
Okay.
And they are not going to use any, genetically modified anything. They're not going to have any kind of hormones in their ice cream and stuff like that anymore.
Yeah.
They've kind of committed to that. And, first off, I think that there should be an Appalachian Trail flavor of Ben & Jerry's.
What would it be?
I don't know.
What's your favorite Ben & Jerry's flavor?
Oh, man. not because of the name, but I really do like fish
Fish
food.
food. Me too.
I really chocolate covered pretzels.
When I was
Hell yeah.
When I was
Isn't that what they are?
No, it's just fudge.
Oh, those are the ones. Which
Chocolate and caramel and marshmallow and fudge, like caramel and marshmallow
yeah.
swirl, and then little chocolate fish.
Yeah, yeah.
And when that flavor came out was when my brother was old enough to like fish and I wasn't.
Right.
And I wanted to be just like him, so I liked fish food because it sounded cool. But I also liked it because I was like, what a coincidence! I'm so glad this wasn't like Cherry's Jubilee and they just called it fish food. Like, it was actually a really good flavor.
What's the one with the chocolate covered pretzels? And is that the Stephen Cole? No, that's the waffle.
I don't know.
That's chocolate covered waffle cones.
I don't even know.
I honestly haven't had Ben and Jerry's in quite a while.
When they started making fish food and frozen yogurt,
Oh, really?
I died and went to heaven. But I
Ooh.
don't really. I eat like maybe a pint of Ben and Jerry's like every other year.
Yeah.
So
It's been a while for me since I think a couple years ago the wife and I split a something.
Yeah.
But it's like that's about it. But
yeah.
dude, when I was on the trail, I ate it a lot.
Ice cream did not taste good to me while I was on trail. Like
Really?
when it was cold outside, it was too cold to eat ice cream, and when
Right.
it was hot outside, it was too hot to have a belly full of milk product.
I wish you had said cream.
I met a guy one time. I'm trying to remember where.
full.
No, I think it was somewhere up north, which would have meant that, you know, he had busted it and was like one of the first people
Right.
up north. And I met him outside of like a convenience store, and he, much like you were talking about with the Schlitz, he's sitting on the ground, leaning up against a convenience store, drinking. But he is drinking 2 like pints, like in the paper,
Mhm.
like foldy, like cafeteria milk style
Yeah.
cartons of heavy whipping cream.
Oh.
And it stopped me in my tracks, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? And he goes, I love ice cream. I really do. But I feel like I can't eat it like fast enough. Like, he's like,
Yeah.
I'll get ice cream, and by the time I'm done with like a carton of ice cream, I just want more.
Right.
And I feel like maybe my body really needs the calcium.
Mm-hmm.
But ice cream is starting to get really expensive because, like, every time I get somewhere where I can get ice cream, you know, I'm spending like $5 on ice cream.
Right.
So I just spend like $1.16 on heavy whipping cream, and I drink it, and it kind of seems to satisfy the ice cream urges. And I was just like, oh, that is disgusting. Like, I can't even imagine what it would be like to hike with a belly full of heavy whipping cream. Like, I don't even like half and half in my coffee.
Yeah.
And that's like, I mean, it plus on top of that, like, can you imagine? And I know that hikers don't really give a shit, but like, how much saturated fat
Yeah.
is in a serving of heavy whipping cream? And there's like, you know, 10 servings per container.
I wonder if it's the equivalent of a bloomin' onion.
It's gotta be
At least 2 cartons probably are close to it.
But that was one of those that it was like, all right, I've seen some shit, but that's it's a little crazy. You with the whipping cream.
I'm trying to think. I feel like when you were saying that, I feel like I saw somebody eat something one time that you're just like, no, humans shouldn't. And I'm blanking out right now. I feel like there's gotta be, because you get so many different cultures that kind of come together, and like, you know, like, when was the first time you saw somebody? Here's one that's gonna blow people's mind. When was the first time you saw somebody put peanuts in their Coke or their Pepsi? Excuse me.
It was probably the episode of SNL when Britney Spears hosted.
Did she do that?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I can't remember. I'm sure I did, but I don't remember.
It was basically, she was like she was supposed to be playing like an uber redneck.
Yes.
And she put peanuts in her Coke.
Yeah.
And explained to them like, well, yeah, that's how we do it down here. You put your peanuts in your Coke. But I think just prior to that,
Mhm.
somebody I'm like, I was born in the north and moved all up and down the East Coast, and we moved to within 5 miles of where I live right now, when I was in the 4th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So when I moved here, that was like, you know, the more southern that I had ever lived was Florida, which doesn't count as the South because
Right.
it's not. And so we moved here, and I got an education in what Southern is. And now I'm proud to say, like, I love North Carolina, and I would hate to leave it. I'd be sad to leave it. But yeah, I had some things to learn when I moved here, and I think somebody had explained to me, like, oh yeah, you get the saltiness of nuts and you get the sweetness of the Coke.
Yeah.
And it's just good.
Well, like, I know the first time I saw it, I was very young, and I saw somebody doing it, and it was one of those moments when you're, like, pointing when you're a little kid, you know, and you're about to say, like, ew, or, you know, what are they doing? And my mom was just like, I'll tell you in the car. Like, you know, like, don't question this. Because the place where
Like
it
a
was...
stick.
Yeah. The place where it happened, like, it was like an old general store that was
Yeah.
out in Apex, and, you know, it's now a biker bar. But,
I've known 2 people that used to play music, live music there on
Oh, really?
Fridays.
they always have... Today they had one of the names of the bands that's playing this weekend, maybe tonight even, it was called... At first, I'm like, wait, this place, they serve food? No, the place is... The band's called Chicken Platter. And usually there was one band that was called Going Out of Business.
I like both of those.
Yeah.
Chicken platter.
But that's the worst thing to have on your marquee outside. Going out of business this Saturday at 8. You know, like
Maybe they actually are going out of business.
no. This was a while back. No. The name of the band was Going Out of Business.
Chicken platter reminds me of the episode of the Brady Bunch when they wanted to get their parents for their anniversary a silver platter.
Right.
And they went to the silversmith and they picked out their platter and they worked out how much it would cost to get the message that they wanted engraved. And the guy told them how much it would be, and they saved up all their money for like months and had enough. And then they went to the silversmith and they said, okay, we want to get this platter and we want it to say this. And he said, no, I meant it was going to cost that much per letter of the engravement, not total. And that just so happened that there was a talent show in town.
Oh, good.
That the grand prize was the exact amount of the silver platter. And so they were in the talent show.
What was their band name?
The Silver Platters.
Oh. How many people do you think around the country have called their band the Silver Platters, thinking like, oh, dude, just like on the Brady Bunch?
It'll be just like on
Yeah.
the Brady Bunch.
I would venture to guess in the 80s there was probably one band per town that was called the Silver Platters.
I want to know how many people, like there's got to be like 2, maybe 3 of them that are listening to this going, I remember that episode.
We were the originals.
Oh, man.
I was just reminded the other day of the episode of the Brady Bunch whenever the I can't remember how it happened, but somebody injured their neck. There's somebody injured their neck, not anybody in the family, like somebody else.
Alice?
No. Like none of the Brady Bunch injured themselves.
None of the bunch.
Or yeah, wish you could have seen.
Nobody in the grid.
This, by the way, is the official sign for bunch.
Okay.
Which just looks like I'm grabbing 2 asses.
It looks like you're cupping ginormous breasts.
Yes, and but somebody got hurt. Like maybe they got a person got rear-ended, or they did something where the person hurt their neck and wore like the neck brace to the court case, and somebody like literally like they got the idea like they didn't think he really hurt his neck, and so like somebody threw a book on the ground and whipped his neck to the right, and they're like, oh,
it's all coming back to
dun,
me.
dun, dun. That's all I remember.
It's all coming back to me.
And I was like, I remember that, but I do also believe, like in the 80s and the 70s and the 60s, really, once that television meme has basically been created, you know, where it's like, the boss is coming over. I told you, you didn't make dinner. Like those happen in every one.
Yeah.
I can't remember where I heard it, but it reminded me the other day of that.
Our daughter doesn't have a date to prom. What's going to happen now?
But let's see. But so anyway, Ben and Jerry's, I think no, but I've seen some pictures. There's some people already making it to Pine Grove Furnace, you know, in Pennsylvania, and
Mr. Bordeaux.
oh, was he there?
Yeah, he tweeted today that he could smell the middle of the trail line.
What did it smell like?
He said, let me just make sure I have it right here. All right, according to Mr. Bordeaux, the halfway point is almost in sight. I can smell it, and it smells like hard-earned achievement. And I piped in and reminded him that it also smells like pine trees.
I almost was the dick and said, in a furnace. It smells like a grove.
It's almost like a grove of pine trees. It's so pleasant sounding.
I remember when I got there, I ate my ice cream, and I think I had they only had a couple of choices. And like the milk, the ice cream guy was coming by later today, and I think I had I think I had to do something pretty substantial. I think I had to do Rocky Road or something I had to do something with a lot going, like Moose Tracks or something like that with a lot going on in it.
Ugh.
And it was one of those where it was kind of wasn't quite lunchtime. I think we got there 10 a.m. and it's well, here we go. Not good planning on my part.
This is happening.
Yeah. And I remember eating it and being done. Okay, fine. And of course there's always got to be the one asshole who's done,
Throws his little wooden spoon down.
Great. It was, congratulations. You win today. And, but I remember I ate it and then it was all right, let's get our packs on. Left a little bit later and then we went a few feet and we're I'm going to make a phone call.
I gotta poop.
Yeah. And it was yeah, I'm going to make a phone call too. And of course this is, payphone days. And I remember calling, I literally had to page a friend of mine. Yeah, had to page him and get him to call back.
On a pager?
Yeah, she had a pager. And get her to call back. And so she called back on,
That's the high life talking.
Yeah. And I was okay, and I remember it being a not very satisfying phone call. It was okay, my chance to talk to somebody. It was the phone call didn't last long enough to let my belly full of cream settle, and kind of just had to go on. And I remember,
please don't make that the title of the show.
Okay, no for it. And yeah, you got me. And I remember we were walking, and this group of people were just going out for a day hike, just to go out to the halfway point and come back. And there were some good old folk, and it was one of those where it was all right, I'm ready to go, and they got in front of us, so it's and then it was every question you can be asked, the whole, how much do you carrying, and Barf just lied. He lied about every single thing these people asked us. How long you guys been out? And he's well, we're coming up on our year anniversary. We started hiking in Texas and made our way over. And he just started spitting out these lies. And I'm but he just starts lying to these people. And I'm okay, I'm going to follow suit. And it was so how often do you guys get food? Well, I've been carrying the food in my pack for the past 6 months. And mostly what I have in my pack is food. And they were just eating it up. And it was one of those. And then after we left them, I remember we got to the halfway point and I was I think we should do that from now on. Yes, we should just lie from now on. And so I did a lot of lying from Pennsylvania to Maine, especially when it was just annoying kind of thing. You're just blah, 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 blah.
You're a terrible human being.
We had, I'm a horrible, horrible man.
Littering, smoking the reefer.
So we had a good question come to us the other day from at Spoon of Honey. Her first tweet basically just says that the only reason she has Twitter is because she wanted to read Ghetto Hikes.
Nice.
And because we talk a lot about
I reread
stuff.
it the other night, and I fucking love Ghetto Hikes.
Well, the one thing about Ghetto Hikes, I read a review. I'm not shitting you. They put Ghetto Hikes in the top 10 worst Twitter personalities on Twitter.
What are you talking talking about.
Yeah, and
I could name 72
yeah,
that.
follow us.
Yeah.
And I
If you're listening to this, you're not one of that
no,
72.
you're not one of them. They said that they called it racist, and one of their main reasons they called it racist was because he opens it by saying, like, I take kids of all races out. And I kind of took that to mean, like, look, I'm not poking fun at any one particular,
Right.
like some of these, like, you
Right.
know.
Don't pigeonhole it as I'm only taking,
Right. I mean, think about
let's
it.
say it. I'm only taking black kids out
Yeah.
because their names are Dimitri and
Yeah. And the other thing is,
Shaquana.
he changed the names,
yeah.
you know, didn't use the same names. And then think about when you and I first talked about ghetto hikes, you talked about, like, a super rich white girl that was with you that
Oh, yeah.
that talked like she was somebody from ghetto hikes.
Amelia.
And so yeah, that was their big thing. They were just saying it's very racist and that there's no way anything could be real. And I'm like, but you've never taken kids into the woods,
No.
you know. And it was like one of those moments where I'm like, don't look at the comment section, don't say anything, because it's like, no, this is good for people who have taken kids in the woods.
Yeah.
You know, because those questions come up
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
But so Spoon at Spoon of Honey asked us if there were any what question we get asked the most that we're tired of, or just what question we get asked the most.
I think I responded to her, but it was in a yucky, I'm limited to this many character
Right.
Twitter responses.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
It's not so much the question that you get asked as I love to talk about gear. More importantly, it's not so much that I love to talk about gear. I love to help people with their gear.
Right.
Because I feel like there's lots of people who want the help. Now, if you don't want the help, then I'm not going to talk to you about your gear.
Yeah.
But for, I'm sure that you've had the same experience, but I get people all the time, that get my number somehow, and I'm like, I don't even know how you found me, but you want to talk about how to lighten your pack, so bring all your shit over and let's dump it out on my living room floor and figure out how we can get some weight gone.
Right.
And I love that because there's nothing better than like looking at a pile of, 8 pounds of stuff that you no longer need to bring. And,
Right.
And that's really cool. But what I hate is getting lassoed into conversations that's gear talk, where people are basically like, they're not asking you any questions. They are sitting their pack in front of you and talking about how superior all their stuff is.
Right.
And the reality is, it's like a shoe. It's like your favorite pair of shoes and every part that goes into it, from what it's made out of to what size it is and why it works so well for you. It makes no sense to sit somebody else down and be like, well, this is a size 6.5. It's a Keen. It's this really awesome green color. There are these laces and there's like a toe protection, and it's a little bit wider in the ball of the foot and a little bit narrower in the heel, which is really good for my foot shape. And really, I mean, it was the best. It's a little pricey, but it's worth it because it's, that's how asinine it sounds to me when people want to brag about their gear. It's like everybody's shit is going to be well suited for them, you'd hope, or at least that that the aim is to figure that out.
Yeah.
But it drives me nuts when people like, and a lot of times I have found people like feign like, oh, I want you to help me lose some weight in my pack, and in reality they just want to talk about like how they looked at the Big Agnes Fly Creek, but they decided on the Mountain Hardwear what the fuck, and they're pretty glad they went with the non-freestanding, and yada yada yada, and you're like, I don't give a shit. If you like it, I am really smitten as a kitten for you that you're digging your gear. But if you're not, then let's talk about something.
Yeah, I think, and I can't narrow it down to a specific question, but I think what I dealt with mostly in my time in the outdoor retail industry was footwear. And so I get a lot of questions about, the best boot, the best shoe, the best whatever. And just a couple of things. One, go ahead anytime now, you're an adult, anytime you go into a shoe store, go ahead and forget about the size that you are. Ask them for a size. And if that works, cool. Just have a place to start. The other thing is, let the person use the Brannick device. Let them measure your foot. But here's what you have to keep in mind. Every shoe out there that you're going to buy in America, for the most part, is not made in America. And the lasts that they are built on are fucked up around. I mean, like when you look at the side of a pair of Doc Martens or Birkenstocks and how many different sizes there are across there. Mm-hmm. I think the biggest thing people need to realize is that Asians build their shoes on a smaller last, which does not work very well for Americans. So don't freak out at the person whenever you're like, I always wear an 8, but this is a 10. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit. We don't go home and talk at home at night like, hey, God, I helped this woman today. She was a size 11.
Can you believe it?
Like, oh, my God. So just go ahead and throw out any, like, predisposed notions of what size shoe you wear. Like, who cares? Doesn't make a difference either way as long as it works for you.
It also makes a big difference depending on what kind of socks you want to wear.
Exactly. Don't go in there and wear the socks that they have in the bin. They tell you they've been cleaned. Trust me, they haven't.
We were responsible for that, and we never washed them.
No, they did it every once in a while.
They said tester on them. That was good enough.
Yeah, exactly. Bring the socks in, or go over and talk with the person about the socks that you're going to use.
Socks are important. Socks are super important.
Yeah, and for me, merino wool works better than anything, be it desert or in the middle of a 5-inch rain in North Carolina. The other thing is that don't be a shithead and come in and try on boots and then go on goddamn Amazon and buy them. If someone took the time to help you fit boots, fit a pack, fit anything, buy it from them. You're going to save, what, $15?
Yeah.
And you're just helping somebody that doesn't need help, like Amazon or Zappos or anything like that. Like, just buy them from the fucking people. And especially if you get it from a place that will allow you to return them. What I always told people, and they never fucking did, every time someone brought shoes back, I always asked them, so did you wear them in the house? No. Do you have stairs in your house? Yeah. Put them the fuck on, walk around the house, like whenever you get home from work. I know it's the last thing you want to do, but put them on and walk up and down the stairs a few times, just wear them around the house, and you're going to feel whether or not they rub. Whenever you come to return them, they will have only been on your carpet or your linoleum in your house or whatever, hardwood. And it's a lot easier for whoever it is to take them back, and if you've worn them around a little bit, you'll feel whether or not, especially, don't buy your boots at the beginning of the day. Mm-hmm. Buy them at the end of the day when your feet are fucking fat.
And operate on the assumption that they're going to get fatter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, so I mean, that's not really the answer to the question, but that's just one of those things. It's just like
shoe tirade.
Yeah, it's a shoe tirade. I mean, I'll go on many of them, I'm sure.
And if I may interject,
please.
My big plan, and I feel like a lot of other people's plans were, I'm a Chaco lover. Mm-hmm. Love my Chaco sandals. At least I've got one pair that was when they were still made in America. Mm-hmm. I wore out the soles and had to have them replaced. So I've got I had new Vibram soles put on, which made them really heavy. A lot heavier than they were when I first bought them, which was a bummer. But I think I actually have like 4 other pairs of Chacos by now that none of them fit me as well as that first pair does. Which is a drag.
Right.
But when I was getting ready to hike, I was pretty sure that I was going to wear boots. And then when it got warm, I was going to switch to Chacos. Like, that was my plan, and I was sticking to it, and I was really jazzed about it. Mm-hmm. I had a pair of boots that had probably about 200 to 250 miles on them, and fit me like a glove. They were like the best pair of boots I had ever had, and I figured, like, I have put some miles on these. Mm-hmm. These are going to be perfect. They were the boots that I started the AT with, and when I got to Neil's Gap, I'm one of those individuals that the toe right next to my big toe is longer than my big toe.
Right.
And on both feet, that little toenail was blue and very tender. I can remember like getting into my sleeping bag and the
Yeah.
sleeping bag touching it was really painful.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I gonna do? And that was my big purchase at Mountain Crossings and it was so sad to me. It was to take this pair of boots that had 200 miles on them, which was not enough to justify, and buy a brand new $120 pair of boots that was the exact same pair of boots, a half a size bigger.
Yeah.
But that size 8 that I ended up with, I bought, I think, 4 more of those in the course of my 6.5 months on trail. They were the best boots ever. They worked really well for me. I changed out the socks a couple of times. Like, if, as it got hotter and like my feet got sweatier or whatever, I would get different socks to kind of compensate for that or keep from wrinkling or getting warped because they were damp. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Merino wool works really well for me,
Yeah.
but it was one of those like my big plan. I almost feel like not to get cheesy, but it's like a birth plan. Like it's really nice to have an idea of what you'd like to have happen, but the reality is it probably won't go that way, and you shouldn't be disappointed if it doesn't. But my big plan was going to be, I'm going to hike in Chacos because that seems cool. That seems like a great idea. Everybody that I ever saw hiking in Chacos looked pretty miserable.
Yeah.
With the exception of when I was on trail, there was a guy named Maui Bob, and it was this guy that looked like Manny from the Jackass shows.
Oh yeah. The animal guy.
Yeah, he looked like Manny. Manny's probably the biggest celebrity I've ever met in real life.
Oh, you met Manny?
I met him at a dive shop in the Florida Keys.
Well, that makes sense.
It was pretty
So
cool.
where else are you going to meet that
pretty
fucker?
cool, yeah.
Like the Sudan?
Yeah.
That's about it?
Yeah. Whatever. Wrestling alligators. But this guy looked like Manny. His trail name was Maui Bob. He was hiking in a pair of like Keen Newports. And he had these like giant cracks in his heels, but he would just like stop every now and then and put some salve on them, and like he was pretty happy about that. But Maui Bob was one of those guys that you like looked at him and you're like, oh, he's got to be like in his 30s. And one day, like somebody, like we were sitting there and eating lunch, and Maui Bob was there, and some other guy. He was like, "Do you know how old Maui Bob is?" And I was like, "I don't know. No, I don't know." And he was like, "Guess how old Maui Bob is?" And I was like, 35, maybe? And they were like, "He's 68." And like, I was like, "No way." And it was one of those like, "So Maui Bob, what's your secret?" And he was like, "Live in Hawaii." And I was like, "Alrighty then. Thank you, Maui Bob." So Maui Bob was the happiest person I saw
Wow.
hiking in sandals. And then my year also, there was the Phoenix. That was the guy that got bit by the rabid raccoon.
Oh yeah.
In Maryland. And
the Phoenix.
the Phoenix did
You imagine having a fucking trail name with D in front?
the Phoenix. No. This kid was crazy.
That's a prick move.
This kid was so the Phoenix did the approach trail in his hiking boots, and by the time he got to Springer Mountain Shelter, he had like blisters all over his feet and was just like his feet were hamburger. And he took his boots off and tied them into the back of his pack and put on both pairs of socks that he had and his Crocs, and he walked to mountain crossings like that, and he really liked it. So he walked to Franklin like that. He really liked it, and he kept walking like that. And eventually he like got in touch with Croc, and he was like, "Hey, I've hiked like 800 miles in a pair of Crocs. Like, you want to do anything about this?"
Yeah.
they sent him a pair of like their ultra rugged ones.
Yeah.
And he wore them for one day and he didn't like them as much. So he hiked the entire AT with the exception of the
One
approach
pair?
trail in one pair of Crocs.
Holy shit.
And yeah. But
he writes Crocs. He's like, "Look, I'm not one of the people suing you."
yeah. No, I'm not trying to make a big deal out of it. Yeah, he was and he was bummed because he wanted to he wanted to send back the all-terrain ones
Yeah.
that have like, you know, like this crazy Velcro adjustable
Yeah.
backstrap and stuff like that. He was like, they're nice and all, but I just want another pair of normal ones. And that was right about Crocs were about to go bankrupt at one point.
Yeah.
And that was right when that was happening. And they were like, sorry, we can't. Our resources are tied up in every other thing. And so they didn't do anything else about it. And so anyway, but yeah, so Maui Bob had his Keens and the Phoenix had his Crocs. And aside from that, like, I don't know a lot of people that enjoyed hiking in sandals. Or I mean, there's the book, The Barefoot Sisters.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there are other people out there.
I'm sure there's shitloads of people in 5 fingers.
Yeah. Ugh, I can't imagine. It makes my heels hurt just to...
Have you ever worn a pair?
No.
I got a pair at...
My baby toe is really dinky, and it just wants to be in the buddy's sleeve, and it doesn't work, so I don't wear 5 fingers.
That's mine's similar to that, but like I bought a pair, and it sounds so bad, but I bought a pair at an RAI scratch and dent sale.
Yeah.
And it was like late in the day,
Yeah.
and so I got them for $4.83. And
That's the best way to get them.
Exactly. And I was like, well, for $5,
Yeah.
I'm going to test them out because
Yeah.
I was still selling footwear at that
Sure.
point, and I was like, I'm going to give these a shot so I can tell customers about them. I think I wore them to work one day, and there is a your body getting used to it phase, but it was like, no, I'm going to wear these at home and water the garden in them, and like that's what I wore them for more than anything. It was like just they were nice around the yard to wear because I wasn't going to step on a rock or something like that. But like that's where I see them, and I see them being used in like a paddling.
Yeah.
Like it'd be nice to have them
Yeah.
inside of a, because I know for me, like having my feet in those aqua socks,
Yeah.
it's just kind of
That's
confining sometimes. So, but to spread your pinky toe and that kind of thing, and because I know when I'm in a kayak, I just feel claustrophobic already.
Yeah.
So I find myself always wanting to spread my toes,
Yeah.
and it can never happen in like a little pair
Yeah.
of NRS socks. So
Well,
yeah,
the other thing too, and this is nothing against like 5 fingers or the barefoot movement or anything like that. I met a podiatrist on trail,
right.
and I talked to him about how before I got on trail, like the year before, I had gotten really into like sprint triathlons, and I had done like a sprint triathlon every other weekend for like 4 months. And I loved it, and it was really fun, but I started getting shin splints, and so I stopped doing them about 7 months before I started the trail. And the whole point was, like, this is my conditioning, is not doing anything and letting my shins heal completely before I put them through the ringer on the AT.
Right.
And he said, well, you wear like hiking boots, right? And I said, yeah. And I was wearing a pair of hiking boots at the time. And he was like, you wear these all the time, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, well, don't worry about it. You're not going to get shin splints. And I was like, why does that have anything to do with it? And he said, the weight of a heavy hiking boot strengthens the muscle that supports your shin. And it's actually the weight that your toe has to lift when you take a step that supports that bone, and it's when you're wearing too light a shoe that you get shin splints because that muscle is weak and then the shin isn't supported. I'm no podiatrist, but that's what I was told.
Yeah.
And it makes total sense because I dabble in running. I don't enjoy it, but it's like the cheapest way to stay in shape. And so every now and then when I feel like I need to, I'll start running again. And it doesn't take me long. Like, I'm pretty easy to get shin splints. I never had any shin problems the whole time I was on trail.
Yeah, no, I didn't either, and I
Yeah.
had a pretty hefty boot.
He also said, if you see people with shin problems, he said, check out the footwear that they hike in, because I bet they'll all be in a lightweight trail runner or something.
All right, that was a whole lot of footwear talk.
Sorry.
No.
I got jazzed.
I started it too.
I got excited.
Maybe we should end it.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
I was so excited.
So, I learned a new term last week.
I'd love to hear it.
Pinkblazing.
That's an old term.
I had never heard it before.
Yeah.
What does it mean then? Tell me what you think pinkblazing is.
It's not really generally considered a good thing.
Really?
I would say of all of my gentleman callers while I was on the trail,
Your suitors.
they all would have been accused, something that you would be accused of, pinkblazing, which is basically like, I guess the best summary would be like to alter your plans, your hiking plans, in order to end up where the lady hiker of your choosing will be ending up. Like,
Right.
to use it in a sentence, like, where are you gonna stay tonight? I don't know. I think I might bust it to Kincora because so-and-so might be staying there. Oh man, you're just Pinkblazing.
Right. Yeah.
There you
And I didn't really know what it meant. And this young lady, her name is I think her name is Valkyrie, is what she goes by on trail. She's at Cynthia S.B. Stewart on Instagram. And that's where I first saw it because these I remember seeing this group at Trail Days. And they had the same bright pink duct tape that we have on your microphone stand and microphone stuff. They had just like one single piece of pink duct tape on their back, and about the size of like a blaze.
Yeah, like how Billville has the red duct tape.
Right, yeah. And so these guys just use a pink. And so I didn't really know what it was all about, and I started looking into it. And you can just search for the hashtag Pinkblazing on Instagram, and a bunch of pictures come up. And so I thought it was kind of cool.
I saw them at Trail Days too, and my gut instinct was that, like, who would be proud of that? Like, it's not really, at least when I was on trail, it wasn't something to, like, advertise. Like, that was like up there with like the walk of shame, like that,
right.
that girls deal with in college and maybe beyond. Pinkblazing is like the male version of walk of shaming.
Yeah,
a little bit.
But yeah, no, she. So Valkyrie, I think she just decided that she was going to try and change it, and kind of level the playing field there, and say, hey, this can go either way. You can be somebody who hikes for love, who hikes for friendship, who hikes for whatever, to be with the people you're with and to be able to hang out with people. And so I asked her, so we started talking on Instagram, and, I asked her a little bit of stuff. She said that she started, this is her direct quote from Instagram, I started conceptual Pinkblazing during trail days. It spread further on the trail than on the internet. The motto of Pinkblazing is, consent is sexy. And I give consent to be on your podcast because I would love to do that. But, yeah. And so
I like that so much better than my understanding of Pinkblazing.
Yeah. And then yesterday, 23 hours ago, according to Instagram here, she married 2 people. Whisper and Mailman. With the blessings of all who live closely with nature, I now pronounce you man and wife.
Wow.
I don't know how...
Is that serious or not?
Yeah, but if you check out those gigantic, I think they're ring pops.
They
maybe?
ring pops? Oh,
like ring pops.
It's really sweet.
But
literally.
But so yeah, so
grapey. That was grapey.
Okay,
not rapey. If you misheard me, sorry. Oh, I ruined it.
I heard grapey, and then
I said grapey.
But that's the thing.
With a G.
I heard grapey, but then I had thoughts about who it came out of, and I'm like, well, maybe she said rapey.
No, I don't just throw around rapey.
I don't throw around a hard R.
Yeah.
Who would want to R her?
Okay, so I have a friend that works at a county rape crisis center, and her job, this is like this,
it can only get funnier from here.
No, and if you know her, like, she's in the education department of the rape crisis center, and she is like, she's hot, like she's very attractive,
right?
And it's just one of those where it's like, I would love to see the reaction that she gets, because her entire job is to hang out with middle schoolers and talk to them about consent. And basically, like, I've seen her do her spiel, and she'll say things to middle schoolers like, sex is really fun, but wouldn't it be more fun, instead of wondering the whole time, I wonder if this is cool, but hearing your partner say, yes, more. I love this. And like, you're watching her like, this is fucking steamy for some 7th graders. Like, I'm having a hard time right now. Holy shitballs. But it's one of those, she's, you know, she's a big proponent of the consent train, as everyone should be. But,
Consent train.
but it's a good train. You should get on it.
Yeah, hop on.
Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Consent is sexy.
Consent is totally sexy.
Yeah.
Often.
Did when you explained the meaning of Pinkblazing as you knew it, I started trying to think back, and I only had one moment on the trail where it was like, well, and she was going south and we were going north, so it was kind of tough. You know, you're kind of like, well, you know, you're welcome to hang out with us. Well, I'm moving on. You're like,
I'm done with 11sies.
yeah, like, all right, but no, nothing. But I do remember, I don't remember this girl's name at all, but it was somebody that you're like, what are you doing on the trail? Like,
She'd do it for you.
well, I mean, she was beyond do it for you. Like, she was like, you're way too good looking to be hiking.
You saying trail girls aren't attractive?
No, this was like watching, you know, Giselle go for a backpacking trip.
There's nowhere you can go but down from here.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, this is like, you know, seeing a 10 out there.
You stuck your foot right in the shit. Now you're just dragging it all over the place.
No, I'm just saying that this girl was just one of those. You're like, wow, like, you just didn't expect her to see her out there.
Okay.
You know?
That's fair.
And, oh my God, the D-bags that hung on this girl, like that hung around this girl, you're like, dude, she talks about her boyfriend.
Yeah.
You know, like, do you think he's some scrub?
Yeah.
Like, you know, do you think he's just some D-bag himself?
Yeah.
Like, no, this guy doesn't have 6 months to take off.
Yeah.
You know, like, no, but I saw it happen, like, saw that, and then, but it did seem like, and you and I have talked before about the strange pairings that come up and the interesting groups that happen out there. And like, you know, one of the common ones is the young lady with the way
Older
too
man.
old guy.
Yeah.
And I did notice that happen a lot, where a lot of the attractive, you know, what we would consider attractive in you know, the real world, those girls seem to kind of be with the older guy.
Yeah.
And I just think that kind of is I don't know, is that like a warning to other people? Like,
It's a safety thing.
it's a safety thing. It's a back off.
Because who's
A
gonna
Yosemite Sam holding up two guns. Back off.
So if I'm hanging out with, let's say, a 65-year-old gentleman, and that's not to say that they're old, but they are certainly older than the average male on the trail.
Right.
If I am taking all of my meals with this person and maybe sleeping next to them in a shelter, or, you know, at the very least setting up our tents near each other and that kind of thing, how ballsy does the douchebag that just wants to chat me up and see if I want to share a hotel room at the next town?
Yeah.
How ballsy does he have to be to pony up on the, you know, log that we're sitting on next to us and
Sorry.
he's
Journey is smelling my mouth.
sniffing the old soup strainer.
No, you're right.
But
That dude would have to
really,
be-
how big do those balls have to be to hit on you in the company of another man, one that you probably, I mean, like, really should be showing some respect to,
Yeah.
or at the very least minding your manners around.
I saw that happen. I saw that happen with Model T. He's written a couple books about the AT, and he was hanging out with a young lady. There was just hiking with a couple people. There's one guy. I'm not even going to mention his name. It was my least favorite. I'll go ahead and say I hated this guy's trail name, and he was such a D-bag that he matched how much I hated his trail name. And he had one. And put it this way: he had one of those trail names that was so bad, that it was just blatantly obviously that it was just a suck-ass trail name. But not only that, but every time he had to explain his name. Like, you should just be able to say your fucking trail name. But this guy's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's because of this. And it's like, oh. Like, if your trail name's a play on words and you have to describe what those words are you're playing on, probably not a good idea. Didn't work. But this guy...
It's not as clever as you were hoping it would be.
Yeah, he's just riding this chick's, like, all the time. Like, you're like, dude, she's with Model T, hanging out. Like, get the fuck off. But
his name is Model T, for the love of God.
Yeah, let him go. Oh, he did that. Model T had an auga noise.
Did he really?
Make. Yeah, that was his thing.
That's nice.
Yeah. I wish I got to hang out with him more. I think it was like 2 days. It was about all we spent. We were just a little bit faster than that crew, but and also a lot of it had to do with getting away from the other guy, because it was like, no, I do not want to be around this gentleman one more day. Yeah. But Pinkblazing, that's just something I had never heard of, nor did I think about it, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I certainly had never heard of it in a positive way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice. I like when things you can just turn that right on around.
Yeah.
Make it a good thing.
Yeah. Equality. Get back in there. You ladies, go sexually harass those men.
Not really. That's not the point. But I get what you're saying.
Oh, okay.
Like, let's, in the words of,
Tupac Shakur?
Missy Elliott.
Trying to make $1.15.
This is going to be the whitest sounding thing I've ever heard.
Okay.
There's a Missy Elliott song that's like one of her really good songs. And it was like,
oh, yeah, go ahead.
Put it down, turn it around. And there was like an elephant song or something.
You're thinking of Belle Biv DeVoe. Smack it, flip it, rub it down. Oh no.
No.
Aisha,
flip it and reverse it. I gotta look it up now. Can you work it? I'll put my thing down, flip it and reverse it. I'm doing it. Missy Elliott, work it. DJ, please pick up your phone. I'm on the request line.
I think Kesha said it best when she said, I brush my teeth with a bottle of Jack.
If you got a fly girl, get your nails done. Get a pedicure. Get your hair did. Boy, lift it up. Let's make a toaster. Let's get drunk. It's gonna bring us closer. Don't I look like a Halle Berry poster? It just gets raunchy after that.
Yeah, so Pinkblazing is like that.
No. What is it? I want the part that I want. I guess it's just I put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it. I've never felt whiter in my whole life than I do right now. Is it worth it? Let me work it. I put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it, and then she says it backwards twice.
All right, I feel good now.
And when I would sing that, which I would,
it's the equivalent of
I would just do the. You laugh. I can rap.
Oh wow. We'll be right back. Okay, so we had a couple of phone calls. Let's see what this first one's going to sound like.
828-2086. Go from Silver, North Carolina to Morganton, North Carolina on Sunday. Call me back. It's there. Got a doctor's appointment. Got to come home. All right. Thank you.
All right, so there's our first phone call.
What does it mean?
I don't know. I think it was a wrong number.
Oh.
But yeah, it was kind of weird. I'm like, does this guy want us to call him back? I'm not going to call him back. All right. There's the same area code, so I think I'm obviously going to beep out his phone number.
I wonder if somebody was like looking for trail magic, like they needed a ride. It's too late now, but...
Yeah, I don't think because I didn't hear this till a couple of days ago, and that one came out. Yeah, I think they were just. I think they just had the wrong number. It has the same area code as mine.
Yeah.
So I think that it was just a wrong number.
Don't give me no back talk, sucker. Don't give me no back talk, sucker. Don't give me no back talk, sucker. Don't make me mad. Don't give me no back talk, sucker. Don't give me no back talk, sucker. Don't give me no back talk, sucker. Don't make me mad. I pity your bull. Shut up, bull. I pity your bull. Shut up, bull. I pity your bull. Shut up, bull. Don't make me mad. Don't give me no back talk, sucker. Don't give me no back talk, sucker. Don't give me no back talk, sucker. Don't make me mad. First name, Mr. Middle name, period. Last name,
That was honestly the first time I've listened to that one. I had heard the other one, but I had not.
That's shocking.
That's shocking.
That's shocking.
Apparently, Mr. T is hiking the trail this year. You think that would have popped up on Instagram by now?
Don't give me no back talk, sucker.
No. First name, Mr. What was his middle name?
Period.
Period. Last name T?
Yeah.
T. Wow. Somebody had some time on their hands on that one. What do you think?
What was that?
I don't know.
I liked it, though. Bacon wrap, too.
Mr. T's no Missy Elliott, but
That's right.
But yeah.
Close enough.
Don't give me no back talk, sucker. All right. So that's probably a good place to end. What do you think?
That sounds good to me.
All right. So visit us on Facebook. Find us on Twitter. Let's see. You can be friends with me on Facebook. I'm Pox Holiday. And Pox and Puss. I don't know why I just got that look on my face. I got a little sass.
You just get,
It's like
you got a little.
I got a little sass going.
You got a little diva.
A little diva. You know me. I'm a fucking diva.
Yeah.
And
I say that about you often.
Yep. And we're on Twitter at Pox and Puss, and I'm at Pox Holiday, and you are
Puss in Boots.
at. Say it again, because I'm going to use all this together in this one. Your Twitter handle.
At AT Puss in Boots.
Cool. And we still haven't touched Pinterest in a while. And we have poxandpuss.com and the iTunes and other stuff. Right?
And we're
Call
done.
us.
Yeah.
Phone calls. Our show is always
Say the number.
better. 828-394-4526.
Say it one more time.
Put it in your phone now, sucker. 828-394-4526.
Call us.
Call us. It doesn't have to be a long Mr. T rap.
Don't be nervous.
No, you don't even have to give your name.
Yeah.
You want to know something?
What?
I'll go ahead and put this out there. I called a podcast this week and left
Did
a message
you?
on their voicemail.
Yeah?
And
How'd that work out for you?
I'll find out next week if they used it.
Hmm.
But it was anonymous because I had something I wanted to tell, and I didn't want to give my name. But anyway, call us or send us an email, tweet us, whatever. You can send it poxandpuss at Gmail or poxholiday at Gmail, but call us. Give us a call. Tell your story or tell some dumbass thing. We don't care.
Yeah.
Don't care.
It's the spice. It's the spice of the podcast. It's the whip topping on the key lime pie that is the Pox and Puss podcast.
Yeah.
Why do you laugh at me all the time?
No, that was great. That was great. I was just, I could tell you were searching.
I wasn't searching. How dare you?
How dare you?
I speak with perfect diction.
I talk about whipped cream topping all the time.
It's true.
Belly full of cream.
Technically, key lime pies have meringue on top, which is not whipped cream. But anyhow.
Have a good week.
Bye, guys. I'm gonna get some fucking Schlitz.
Yeah.